Hey friend, I'm Mike McCurry. This is Bible Tract Echoes. Thank you so very much for taking of your time and joining me right here. Have you ever really wrapped your mind around? Have you ever taken the time to process the fact that we don't know when our time will come to an end on earth? The Bible talks about in multiple locations, but in one place it says, our life is but a vapor, appeareth for a little time and then vanisheth away. It's gone, never to be recovered. Life is quick like that, isn't it? Dear friend of my parents, I just got word not long ago, last month, that they passed tragically under not unusual circumstances, an accident. Just something that happens. It happens all the time. We just don't hear about them as often. And for this family, it was a very difficult thing near a holiday. We don't know when our time will come. And if we truly pause and realize that, here we are at the end of the week listening, we're going to, in just a moment, listen to Dr. Paul explain and expound more on this very thought. He's been preaching a message by way of the radio from 1995 titled, Are You Afraid to Die? But here, he's going to masterfully draw the net as only he could. He had been preaching for so long, so good at it. Not just an orator, but he had the power of God about him, didn't he? But I think about the fact that you and I, there is a possibility, a real possibility, that we may never speak again because one or the other of us could step over into glory. There are certainly maybe some things and genetically and my family and all of that could lead to an early mortality, if you will, but overall, both sides of my family, fairly healthy. I don't have any massive preconditions of any kind. I've had very few, if any, surgeries, none related to genetic abnormalities. I don't tell you all that to just share my family history, but the statistics would say that I should live 30, 40, maybe even 45 or 50 more years. But that doesn't mean that God will say that. We act as though we're going to live forever. We sin as though we're going to live forever. We disrespect God as if we'll never meet him. What a sad thing. I hope that's not the case for you. I hope you know where you're going, and I hope you're ready to meet your Maker. We talk about how day by day, and with each passing moment, we have to make sure there's nothing between our soul and the Savior. I apologize for melding a few songs together there, but for me, it is moment by moment, not just minute by minute. There's so many times that I'll allow myself to spiral and I'll not be living in a way that I should. Even just in a brief moment. And I pull myself up short. Am I ready to meet my Maker? I'm not talking about sinless perfection. I'm talking about the fact that I want, should the trumpet sound and we're called out of here, or if I just take my last breath, it could be today, it could be this weekend, I want to be ready to meet him. As you listen to Dr. Paul now, would you keep that thought in the back of your mind? And as we conclude in just a moment, after I come back on, we'll talk a little bit more about that. Listen to Dr. Paul from 1995, just a year before he passed away, preaching this message, Are You Afraid to Die?
And all this guy's got is a rope 3 foot long. And so he got up there on the hill, and I started to pray because my brother taught me to pray about everything. Boy, I started to pray, and I was peeking too while I was praying, And here he went down the hill, and the next thing you know, his feet were dangling in the air. And I could hear that pulley up there, clickety, 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 click, going, and he just kept right on going and going and going. And finally his feet hit on the other side over here. And when he did, he turned around and he said to us kids up there, he said, it was fun. I'd like to go again. See? That's what Paul said. I went to paradise and came back. Man, that was wonderful. I wouldn't mind dying again. I have a desire to depart. Well, then we kids had to go. Well, I don't remember if I went first or not, but I was one of the tallest ones, so I had to be one of the first ones. And I was also the skinniest. I was so skinny in those days, I'd take 4 steps before my pant legs would move. Man, I was really skinny. My pajamas only had 1 stripe in them. And if I stood sideways in school, the teacher called me absent. But anyway, I had to do it now. We kids had to. Either that or we had to move out of the county because we'd had it with the other kids, boy. So I got up there And I grabbed a hold of it. I said to myself, how do I know I can get across? I'm skinny. I don't have any weight. I can't get any momentum. How do I know I can get across there? I might not make it. He did. He's heavier and all that. And I don't know, but oh man, you talk about praying. I was praying. So I got up on the hill and I grabbed hold of that short rope and I started to run. And I shut my eyes too. I was afraid I'd panic and drop. So I shut my eyes. And the next thing you knew, I was dangling in the air. And I didn't have any solid footage under me. They call it terra firma, you know. I had run out of the firma. I got a little bit more of the terra too by that time. But you know, I could hear that little thing up there going clickety, 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 click. And I kept my mouth open and my eyes shut. And that thing was, oh man, that clickety click was the most beautiful music I'd ever heard. Anything that Beethoven and Beethoven or Bach or any of those old fellows wrote that was nothing compared to this music. Oh man. And you know what? My feet hit the other side. And when my feet hit the other side, I said to the kids up there who hadn't tried it yet, I said, it is fun. I'd like to go again. Isn't it wonderful? God let the Apostle Paul get stoned, let his spirit leave his body, go to third heaven into paradise. You say third heaven? Yeah, the first heaven's where the kids fly the kites. The second heaven, and where the birds fly. The second heaven is where the astronauts flying around. They think they've gone out into space. They hadn't even got started yet. And the third heaven, beyond all, that's where God is. See? And isn't it wonderful? God let Paul leave his body, go to paradise, and come back, die, and come back. And what does he say? I want to go again. I want to go again. That's great. Man, that helps me. I wouldn't have cared much about this when I was young, but boy, this sure helps me at my age. Oh, man, this is wonderful. Yes, sir. Paul's delight, his desire, I'd like to go again. And this last word, his determination. What was that? To get as many people saved as he could before he left. Will there be anybody in heaven on account of you? I hope so. Will your boy or your daughter be in heaven on account of you? Will your mother or your dad? Will your brother or your sister? Is there any neighbors who will be in heaven on account of you? Do you have a determination to win somebody, to help somebody get to heaven? If you died tonight, oh man, you know, it'd be awful if you died without being born again. If you die tonight without being born again, without receiving Christ as your Lord and Savior, you wouldn't go to paradise. You say, where would I go? You read it in Luke tells us, the rich man also died and lifted up his eyes in hell. And seeth Abraham afar off and Lazarus in his bosom, and he cried, and he says, Father Abraham, have mercy on me and send Lazarus, and he may dip the tip of his finger in water, for I am tormented in this flame. Now, the rich man is in hell, beyond all hope of ever being saved. But he's got his memory. He remembers Lazarus, and your memory's in your brain. Where was his brain at that time? Buried somewhere on earth. His brain, his body is buried on earth. But wherever he is in hell, he's got enough brains to recognize Lazarus. And he cried. First he saw Abraham over there. He saw him. Well, that's the same as if he's got eyes, isn't it? But his eyes were buried on earth. But if he could see in hell, that's the same as if he had eyes. And he could hear. And his ears were buried on earth, but he can hear in hell. It's going to be awful to go to hell. Man alive, if I didn't know for sure I was saved tonight, I wouldn't wait. I wouldn't even wait like this preacher got through preaching. I come down that aisle and say, somebody show me how to get saved. I want to make sure I'm saved before I die. And don't put it off. You don't know how long you're going to be around. You don't know what you say, I'm young yet. I got lots of time. Yeah, I know. You're like a 17-year-old boy up in Flint, Michigan, and right across the street from where the preacher lived that I was holding meetings for, his granddaddy, they had a basketball court. And this boy's name was Dave, and he's over there shooting baskets one day by himself, and they saw him fall, and they ran over there, and he was dead. 17. A 15-year-old boy came into the gym class up at Normal a few years ago, died right on the gym floor. You don't know how long you're going to live. A man out in Ohio said he wouldn't come to hear me preach, even though he was invited. And on Thursday, he said to his wife, I'm going to watch the midnight show. And she said, I'm going to bed. And she went to bed at 3 o'clock in the morning. She found out he hadn't come to bed. And she went out there, found him sitting in a big easy chair with a television set in front of him. The program was over. The set was still turned on. And she tried to wake him up, but he was dead. He didn't have time to come to church. Didn't have time to accept Christ. Didn't have time to get right with God. But he had to take time to die and go to hell and be there forever. Boy, you say, did he know he was sick? No, he didn't know he was sick. Well, he must have been 90 years old if he died that quick. No, he was 30 years old. 30 years old. And die lost and doomed and damned forever and ever and ever. Let's bow our heads in prayer.
You know, friend, it is the truth. We don't know when our time will come. Dr. Paul, what a marvelous job he did all this week. There are numerous people right now under the sound of my voice. You could be good church-going folks, and you're not sure where you're going when you die. You could be good church-going folks, and you've considered taking your life. You could be, you name it, fill in the blank. Maybe you don't go to church. Maybe you do go to church. Maybe your mama's a saint, your daddy's a deacon. I don't care which, but you are concerned and afraid of death. I'd love for you to reach out. You can text me right now. I'd love to hear from you. 309. Start texting me right now. I'd love to hear from you. I'll respond as quickly as I can. 309 316 7240. I'll be honest with you, friend. Nothing would bring me more joy than to show you from this Bible right here in front of me how you can know for sure where you'll go. Text me 309 316 7240. I look forward to speaking to so many of you, if the Lord should allow, Lord willing, and the church don't rise, next week here on Bible Tract Echoes. I'm Micah McCurry. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great day for His glory. Make sure you join us next week. God bless.
Thank you for tuning in to Bible Tract Echoes, the radio ministry of Bible Tracts Incorporated. Want to see our gospel tracts and other resources? Visit us online at BibleTractsInc.org. That's BibleTractsInc.org. Or follow us on social media to learn how you can partner with this ministry. Thanks again for listening. May the Lord richly bless you as you live for Him.